You know what time it is. We're back looking at the BDL Season 3 Draft League Week 1 matchups. So, the first matchup we have, which is a crazy matchup to have in Week 1, is the Kyogre versus Groudon matchup. We got Rain on the left with Estrella, and we got Sun on the right with Poison Point. Now, for this matchup, obviously, I would tend to favor Estrella a bit more because Estrella just does have that natural advantage in the rain. However, you do have to realize that Walking Wake can also click Hydro Steam in any weather. The issue with that, though, is that Estrella has like 70 water types, and they could all take Hydro Steam. So honestly, looking at this matchup, Poison Point has a lot of struggles in against Estrella, right? Because that Corviknight's not tanking anything. He has like the Zapdos and the Kilowattrel and just the regular water moves and the rain and even the Electro Shot on Archaldon. Like everything can hit Corviknight pretty hard. And then we have Hisuian Lilligant that can't even use Chlorophyll in the sun. We have Krookodile, which is just weak to every water type move. Magnezone isn't really fast enough to deal with the water types. And like he has the Hitmontop to just, deal with that Magnezone. He has the Intimidate, which just stops the Weavile from even getting crazy hits off. Lilligant can't even Victory Dance up. Like, the best thing here is looking to be that free open Terra Regirock. I don't know how he's going to select up his Terra to deal with this matchup, but it's going to be super difficult. Like, all of these mons on Estrella's side can kind of click moves and they don't have to worry about what comes out. Like, what's even taking anything from Palafin? What on that team takes a hit from Palafin other than Walking Wake? But is Walking Wake really your defensive pivot? Right? I mean, you could make a defensive pivot out of Rotom Heat. That could actually be nice, like a Terra Grass, maybe Rotom Heat, throwing around Volt Switches, Discharge, some Terra Blast Grasses. But I just think Estrella has such a crazy matchup here. It's so advantaged. And his tanks, like, nothing can clear through them, right? That Krookodile Earthquake isn't going to take out Archaludon. Archaludon's just going to go all the way to the moon. Like, there isn't a proper special attacking breaker on Poison Point's team for that Archaludon. Like, this whole matchup is just so rough with all the Swift Swim Mons and Kilowattrel's a menace in the rain. And it has the open Terra. I honestly, giving this matchup a percentage on who's probably going to win, I'm going to say it's 90% in favor of Estrella and 10% in favor of Poison Point. It's just so hard for Poison Point to play this matchup. If I was handed Poison Point's team, I was like, build a counter to Estrella's Rain team, I think I'd take the easy way out, which is just forfeit the game. No, but I think Poison Point might be able to find a way out and give us an exciting game, which we will be watching tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna watch it live too. Let's go on to the next matchup. Soul Blaze versus Gek. Now, these two actually have crazy intimidating teams, right? With all their front-loaded super strong mons, but you also have to recognize that Gek's speed tiers are pretty low, and all of his mons are kind of similar in their speed stats. So Soul Blaze kind of has free reign to go for some more offensive sets on mons like Gengar or Raikou. Gek might be forced to scarf up his Zarude, maybe run around with some knockoffs and U-turns. That open Terra Hoopa Unbound can just blow through this team. I don't know how he's going to be able to deal with it. Usually you can just, U-turn on Hoopa Unbound and that's a 4 times effective U-turn. It's going to destroy that. It takes so much damage, but over here, he could really bring any Terra and deal with Gek's entire team just one by one, right? Close combat, the Hyperspace Fury, the Terra Blast that it'll have. It could be Scarfed, it could be Banded, it doesn't matter. I think Gek would really have to play around that Deoxys, maybe try and get some good teleports going on, but Soul Blaze's team just has so many ways. Uh, it could dance around Gek's team. Gek would really have to play pretty perfectly, I feel. Then again, teleport. Remember, I said teleport is just such a strong move, and that Pheasantipity has that 30% chance to badly poison something. That Heatran has the 30% chance to burn something if it comes in with Flame Body, and then don't put down that Gliscor, right? What if that Gliscor comes out with like its offensive Swords Dance and Terra Normal Facades everything? That'd be crazy. But I honestly, I don't know how Gek's going to play this. He could still take the game away, right? That's the issue. Both of these teams, one Mon can really just take it away. If the Lander sets up like a Rock Polish or something and just starts clicking Sheer Force moves on like a Modest set, that'd be kind of nice. That Hoopa Unbound could realistically just click any move on any Mon and it could do crazy damage. But the same can go for Gek's team, right? If that Quick Quavel picks up a single KO after an Aqua Step or even after an SD, I think it becomes really hard to control. Yeah, I mean, this matchup's going to be pretty even now that I look at it. It just really depends on who gets those necessary kills early on and how they can pivot around with it. I'm going to say this is 60% in Soul Blaze's favor, 40% in Gek's, because at the end of the day, that Hoopa Unbound with the Open Terra can realistically just give itself the move pool to be able to hit everything or just be defensive enough to not get one shot by any U-turns on like a Choice Scarfed Zarud or something. Yeah. I mean, that Cyclozar is also there, right? Nothing's outspeeding that Cyclozar unless it's that Choice Scarf Zarud. So for this matchup, yeah, 60-40 in favor of Soul Blaze. Next up, we have the matchup for Philosopher and Macro. Obviously, Philosopher's team mainly wants to take advantage of hazards to play around little break points to get the other Mons on the team some kills, right? So it just really depends on that Hisui and Samurott getting some spikes up, running around with Macro's team, getting that Blaziken in, letting the Blaziken, protect a bit, get that speed boost up, and be able to kill the rest of his team, because Blaziken does kind of run through that Darkrai. It kind of runs through that Sneasler. I don't know how well it's going to do into that Rotom Wash. Probably a 2-hit KO. Metagross probably gets taken away. But you do also have that Flash Fire Chandelure, which would be crazy. The Arboliva could tear into anything and, get rid of a weakness. But, I mean, Philosopher just has a lot of support too, right? He has that Dragonite could come out with like a crazy T-Wave set and just make it so his whole team's slower. And then he doesn't even have to worry about bringing out Blaziken. He could just bring out like Mamoswine and make some money moves. Like Mamoswine kind of has a move to hit everything on his team. Yeah, look, Earthquake Sneasler. I mean, I think Mamoswine Earthquake with hazards should kill a Darkrai, right? Or is that not true because it's a legendary? It could Ice Shard, Icicle Crash the Landorus. Oh yeah, it would struggle with Rotom actually, but I mean it kind of hits everything else. So like that could be a good option for him. The Glimmora is a sleeping demon. That Glimmora could become something crazy. I don't know what Terra he would give it though. He could. Yeah, I don't know. What would it be like? Not Terra Fire. Maybe Terra Fire actually. I'm not sure. Yeah, and obviously Macro has to play safe around the Goldengo, spin blocking and defog blocking and the Doug Trio, which could arena trap something. So maybe he brings Terra Ghost on a member of his team. And for Philosopher, he really has to worry about that Sneasler. If that Sneasler gets the chance to, set up a Swords Dance and maybe get into Indeedee Psychic Surge with a Psychic Seed, like that could get out of hand, right? Because I'm pretty sure Sneasler gets access to knockoff or some dark type move, something to deal with the Goldengo, and then everything else isn't safe from Direclaw. Direclaw's just such a good move, so broken. So I really don't know how this matchup's going to play out, right? You still have the Landers from Macro that does a good job, intimidates a lot of the Mons on his team. He has a lot of physical attackers. But I mean, he still does have some good special attackers that he's definitely going to bring. I wouldn't bring Noivern. I don't think I would bring Noivern with Mamoswine around. And even if you do Terra, like, what would you Terra to? The main reason to Terra Noivern is for that Boom Burst. I don't think Boom Burst is free to click this game because we have 2 ghost types and one of them is Goldengo. It's just amazing to bring. I think I'm really curious on how both these guys decide to build their teams for this game. I'm guessing Mackerel's just gonna try and play a quick game with Psychic Seed. But for this matchup, it could actually be 50-50. It's whoever brings out that juicy tech that we all watch Draft League for. So let's go to the next matchup. Okay. Shirley Jest, obviously, I'm going to give him a small advantage here because he does have that chilly reception that he could click into Garchomp or anything on his team. For this game, actually, Slitherwing, unironically, guys, Slitherwing might not be a fraud this game. It might not be a fraud. That open Terra with a free to click first impression. If Slitherwing clicks first impression here, and it's like a booster energy Slitherwing, and it's open Terra, like first impression kind of tears through a lot of the team members that Ultra Burst has, and Flare Blitz hits the rest pretty hard. I don't know how Ultra Burst would play that matchup, but obviously Shirley just has to watch how they team build. They can't really go for setup, so maybe Sinistra doesn't come because you could always see that Ditto that just really messes with everything. But I think Shirley just actually has a really good matchup here with that Slitherwing. As much as I hate Slitherwing and it's kind of a fraud, this game it might not be a fraud. Yeah, just all of his team members kind of can work together to like clean up get some chip damage and let Slitherwing take over. And he just has such a good pivot in Slowking. And I think that's his main pivot. And obviously he has his options to play around with that Galvantula Sticky Web with the chord change. Oh my god, imagine if he chord change Cinderace, gets the Sticky Webs onto Ultra Burst's side, just brings out that Slitherwing. It doesn't even need to flame charge. It just starts spamming its moves with the booster energy attack boost. That'd be so crazy. So, honestly, looking at this matchup, I don't even think Incineroar can do much about the Slitherwing. Maybe it should be Clear Amulet or Choice Band instead, but Ultra Burst doesn't really have much counterplay to it because of just how powerful First Impression is. So I will give this matchup a 70-30 in favor of Shirley Jest, but maybe Ultra Burst has some ways that they could play around it. We'll see. Now we have the matchup for FFella and Wish. Wish obviously has that really nice team with that Urshifu Rapid Strike to break through all these protects, so Fella can't go for any wishes, which is ironic into Wish. FFL's team, obviously most of the time when you draft Gouging Fire, you want to bring it to every game. This game, I feel like you could still bring Gouging Fire. I would even opt for... Because whenever I see Urshifu Rapid Strike, I feel like Rocky Helmet's just such an easy move to put on your Mon. And I feel like Rocky Helmet Clefable could be good, but I you know what? Yeah, I kind of like Rocky Helmet on the Gouging Fire, right? It's such a defensive pawn. It'll hit for neutral, but I mean, if you're hitting neutral against Gouging Fire, it's not that crazy, and it could just Morning Sun it off on a Rocky Helmet. And then for the rest of the Mons on Wish's team, right? Not much to hit Gouging Fire other than that Moltres Galar. Yeah, like that's just such a rough matchup for him. The Moltres Galar is the only thing that can, maybe do something into the Gouging Fire, but Gouging Fire can kind of clear through everything else. And if he gets any Dragon Dances off, it's even harder. And I mean, that Moltres Galar still has, Fella still has some ways to play around it. Even if that Moltres Galar ends up setting up, right? We have the Unaware Clefable that we could play around. We have mainly just the Unaware Clefable. And then, you still have that Meowscarada to be scared of for Wish. Because if that Urshifu, I don't even think a Scarfed Urshifu could outspeed the Meowscarada. Honestly, I'm not sure. My math is pretty terrible when it comes to speed tiers and choice scarfing, but I think the Meowscarada could outspeed. It could even run Scarf Meowscarada if he really wants to. But I don't think, there's any point unless you want to make sure you outspeed the Greninja. Yeah, but I feel like Wish just has such few options because of the Unaware and the Gouging Fire. It's just, that's a really good combo. And that Dragon Fairy part of the Dragon Fairy Steel Core. I don't think I would bring the Steel type this game. There's a lot that can hit that. Iron Treads this game. It's Treads, right? Not Thorn. Yeah, Treads. Yeah, and then you still have that Sleeping Demon Thunderous that could deal with the Moltres Galar, that could deal with the Skarmory, that could deal with the Urshifu Rapid Strike, could deal with any electric move thrown by Regieleki, which is pretty much every Regieleki move. Just gonna Volt Absorb that. Guess what? Regieleki, you just healed his Thunderous Incarnate with that 145 base special attack, just clicking its moves against your team. So for this matchup, even if I guess he does have the option in Sylveon being like what? Terra Ground. But even then, that's terrible, right? Because you still have the Meowscarada with the Flower Trick to just probably one-shot if Terra Grounds. I just feel like this is a hard matchup for Wish because all its options into Gouging Fire suck. And the one option, or maybe two, that don't suck into the rest of the team. So I feel like this just showcases that fella built a really strong team. And maybe Wish's matchup is... Yeah, this is just a rough matchup for Wish. Like, they just happen to pick up the matchup into Gouging Fire, and they don't really have the options into Gouging Fire. Maybe they have to do some prankster like gimmicks with Grafaiai, but I don't know. I don't know how they would play this. Dude, this is why I love doing this analysis, because I generally don't know how some of these players are going to deal with these teams, and I kind of want to go into the games and see how they manage to turn around what seems like a terrible matchup and just win it. So I just want to see that. Okay, Noriami's into Tai. Tai obviously with a team that's composed of, some of the favorites. And Noriami's with a team that has one of the craziest mons in the game, that Deoxys Speed. Very high speed stat, outspeeded by Regieleki, even though Regieleki has nowhere near the same usability or versatility that Deoxys Speed has, right? Because it could be a really super quick attacker, and it could also set up hazards pretty well. And if you look at Ty's team, I think he has the Talonflame for Defog, which is actually not bad, because if it's coming off of Gale Wings, it's a pretty good Defog. But yeah, in this situation for Ty's team, the matchup's not that bad. These teams are kind of evenly matched, but look at that Sleeping Demon Gothitelle, right? That Sleeping Demon Gothitelle would kind of decide how this matchup goes, because there's no... Yeah, Tai has no Ghost type. Tai actually has no Ghost type. They do have Defog, but they just don't have that Ghost type. So if Gothitelle manages to trap a defensive Mon, which Ty's team has a few of, right? If the Indeedee manages to get trapped, the Quagsire manages to get trapped, even the Talonflame if the Gothitelle's tanky, and maybe the Serena. Either way, if Gothitelle can trap any Mon and just, fake out. No, not fake out. This isn't VGC, guys. It could just, set up on that Mon or whittle it down and kill it. Then, that Gothitelle could take the game away. Or it could get rid of a threat that might scare away other team members, right? Because if that Glade goes down, Ting Lu kind of gets free reign on the game outside of the Primarina clicking moves. But even then, the Glade's that biggest threat. If the King Gambit's gone, it doesn't really change too much. I mean, I'm just looking at the team, right? If the hazards are gone too, right, on Talonflame, like Noriami's is pretty free to hazard stack. I just think that King Gambit makes the matchup kind of hard because you want to lead with that Deoxys most of the time, I feel. And if that King Gambit ever comes out, I think the Deoxys is screwed. Unless Deoxys gets superpower still. I remember getting superpower. Does it still have it? Because if it does, that's crazy. Like, this is the issue with mythical Pokemon. They get mythical move pools. They get like Victini has Fusion Blare, or no, Fusion Bolt, Fusion Flare, Bolt Strike, all those strong moves, all those OP moves that a Victini should totally have, right? So I mean I wouldn't put it past Deoxys to have that super strong move, superpower. It already gets Psycho Boost. Oh my god, imagine the Psycho Boost into the unaware Quagsire, just spamming Psycho Boost on it, and they like the special attack drops don't even matter. Either way, looking at this matchup, some of the mons are evenly matched, some of the mons aren't. Like, there's a way for both sides to be able to play. It's just that the Gothitelle skews it a bit into Noriami's favor. But don't forget that we do have Sticky Webs on Vikavolt, and the hazard removal on Noriami's team is Rapid Spin Tentacle and Rapid Spin Fortress, because I don't think the Rotoms get Defog in Gen 9. But then again, Tai has no spin blocker. So, like, with Gothitelle and the ability to put up hazards that won't get removed unless a Talonflame comes out, I just feel like this is a slightly skewed matchup in Noriami's side. A bit more skewed than the 60-40 was for Soul Blaze and Gek. I'm going to give this a 70-30 in favor of Noriami's. But, once again, prove me wrong. Please actually prove me wrong, because those are the most enjoyable games I ever watch. Are the ones where I think it's going to go a certain way, and then, you know what? Tai pulls out with the hidden tech Vikavolt Agility Discharge and just paras everything. I'd love to watch that, actually. Forgery versus Con Baby. I don't know why the asset here isn't loading, but it's supposed to be Tauros Paldea Blaze. So just imagine that firefighting bull here. Either way, their speed tiers are looking nice, right? They've covered a lot of similar speed tiers. There are some slower teams on Calm Baby's side. But there is a bit of a mind game here, right? Because Forgery has access to Sticky Web, but Calm Baby, on the other hand, has access to Trick Room on two different bonds. You have it on Hatterene and you have it on Bronzong. So it's a mode that could totally come with that Scrafty and that Araquanid. And honestly, Calm Baby does have their own Sticky Webs too, so it might not be the worst. You know, like, what could happen this game, which would be crazy, by the way, is Calm Baby just leads Iron Boulder with a booster energy for, like, speed, maybe even attack, and just starts clicking Mighty Cleave. And what's taking it on Forgery's team, right? Like, Raging Bolt can't switch in on it. Excadrill could maybe switch in, but then you have fighting coverage on close combat from Iron Boulder, right? Does Iron Boulder get close combat? I don't remember, but I feel like it should. Either way. I mean, if Calm Baby opts for, you know, to play a speedy Iron Boulder and then play the rest of the game Trick Room, that would also be insane, because that Scrafty with Terra could pretty much cover everything. If it's in Trick Room, right? That Moxie, or maybe even a DD with Sticky Webs. Like, it really depends on how Calm Baby wants to play this matchup. But you can't forget that Forgery could play the matchup however he wants to. If he manages to read the lead from Calm Baby to be Iron Boulder or something, then they could just bring out, you know, like, whatever could deal with that. The Excadrill, Earthquake Excadrill can kind of kill it. Alomomola tanks it and flip turns into a good matchup. Don't forget, Alomomola has that Regenerator. Like, and we still have Intimidate on Tauros. Like, it's not unplayable if that Iron Boulder was led and just starts clicking moves, but it would get good chip. I think for Forgery, like he yeah, it's pretty hard to deal with that Iron Boulder. Like, that's gonna be the biggest, scariest thing to deal with, and then you still have to worry about Great Tusk. Great Tusk is rough for Forgery too, because like all the ground immunities are weak to that rock type and Iron Boulder. Everything that resists ground on his team is gonna die to one shot from Iron Boulder. Maybe not Bramblegast, but I mean Tyranitar kind of lives in Earthquake maybe. But yeah, it's just a super hard matchup for Forgery. I feel he has to play it pretty perfectly. Even the lead has to be perfect because Con Baby could just pull out some crazy stuff. I guess you kind of pray that the boulder doesn't. I mean, the boulder's 100% coming, right? The boulder's 100% coming, and yeah, that boulder's 100% coming, man. There's no way that's not coming, but the Trick Room mode is still scary to deal with. Like, there's just so much to worry about because Forgery has a bit of a faster team with no slow bonds. And that Trick Room is so free to be clicked. Yeah, everything is faster than Scrafty. So if that Scrafty's in the Trick Room, it could totally run away with the game. And it has Moxie. Forgery has no Unaware on his team. Oh man, I'm actually worried for Forgery. But you also have to consider that he has the Forgery factor that could allow him to turn around his matchups and win them. Either way, if I were to give this matchup a skew, I would say probably 70-30 in favor of No. It's not as bad as the previous matchup. I'd say 65-35 in favor of Con Baby. Just kind of easy from a team building standpoint to maybe, EV to kill any kind of sets that Forgery could run on some mons for Iron Boulder, and then maybe with the chip that Iron Boulder gets on a mon that he doesn't kill, we get a Trick Room Healing Wish from Hatterene, and then out comes the open Terra Scrafty to click whatever move it wants, get that extra attack boost, and take the game away. So 65-35 in favor of Con Baby. And then I believe this is the last matchup that we're going to look at, and it's Phantasma versus Leppy. Leppy obviously has that super powerful Trick Room team, right? Everything on this team looks super nice in Trick Room. But if you look at Leppy's team speed and Phantasma's team speed, there are some mons that don't kind of like Trick Room that much compared to Phantasma's, right? Like, if you run a min speed version of most of the bonds on Leppy's team, and Phantasma runs like a min speed, I don't know, like Scizor, Volcanion, even Belly Bolt, the Trick Room could be disadvantageous, right? Because that Belly Bolt could Terra in the Trick Room and clear through a lot of the mons on the team. If we get because we have the electric coverage, which kind of does nothing. Actually, I think the Leppy's pretty safe because the electric coverage kind of does nothing into Leppy's team, but maybe no. Muddy Water also want to work with Storm Drain. So yeah, honestly, the Volcanion's still kind of scary. The Dawn Fan could still, spam Earthquake. But I do feel like it is a bit of a harder matchup for Phantasma, because Leppy can pretty easily click Trick Room unless Urshifu's out. So it's just a matter of how Leppy can pivot around to get that Trick Room up, and Phantasma, how well they could play to deny the Trick Room. Phantasma also has that advantage of Leppy being unable to click Protect, both because they're in Trick Room and because Urshifu could just click a move and, use that ability that denies a game mechanic in Protect. Either way, yeah, I feel like it's a hard matchup for Phantasma. They really have to play the perfect call on every turn because their team isn't super bulky in Urshifu and Ogerpon and Bundled. I mean, he does have Sturdy on 2 Mons, but I just don't think his upper Mons are too bulky, right? Even the what is that? What is that little ghost poison? I keep forgetting the name. Pecharunt. Even Pecharunt would struggle here because we have 2 psychic types and a ground type that kind of no. I mean, the ground type still can't deal with the special defense or the defense stat, but we have Gastrodon too. I mean, I just feel like Leppy kind of can really take the game away with that Trick Room, and Phantasma has to find a way to play around it. Deny that Trick Room. Don't let it go up. Or if it goes up, you could stall it out, but you really have to click the perfect move every turn. Maybe we'll see a taunt on a Trick Room to stop it. And maybe we'll even see Leppy have Mons to play outside of the Trick Room because, I mean, what like between Mew and Jumpluff and Ninetales, there's only 2 Mons that outspeed them or are equal to them. So, and I mean, they don't really have to worry about an Iron Bundle too much, but that Sleeping Threats Titan still exists for Phantasma's team as well. Like, if we see an Aurora Veil, Belly Drum, Slush Rush, that could be crazy with like Terra Electric. Yeah, that could take the game away. I honestly feel like, yeah, Phantasma just has to play it super perfect. Once again, like I sound like a broken record, but it's really important that you play perfectly into Trick Room. If you let that go up, it's just a really hard game for 5 turns. So I'll favor this matchup 65-35 in favor of Leppy. I still think Phantasma can play around it, but it's going to be pretty hard. Yeah. I'm going to sell with 65-35. I know I didn't do the best analysis this week, honestly. I have a lot on my plate, but I hope these quick little overviews of the teams and their matchups was good enough for you guys. If you really care, though, you could let me know what you think I analyzed poorly, or if you want me to analyze teams for a bit longer. I don't want this to be too long. I remember the draft analysis was like 2.5 hours, right? I don't want to give you guys documentaries all the time, and we're still gonna have to go through and watch all the games tomorrow. So I just don't want to give you guys too much to worry about. Either way, if you do want to keep up with the coverage, hit the Bronzong bell, like up the video so that more people see it. And yeah, comment down who you think's gonna win their matchups this week. Maybe you think a matchup is skewed in someone else's favor than what I said. Either way, I will see you in the live stream of all of our draft games this Sunday. So tomorrow. All right. Bye.